to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, look at our world with your loving eyes. Help us to face this difficult time. I pray you fill our hearts with peace. With you we are safe. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
That's you, Joe.
Ms. Lees?
Here.
Mr. Bryan?
Here.
Mr. Beck? Here.
Before I start, there's a few things I want to say. First thing I'd like to do is thank the Loveland Symmes Fire Department, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, the staff of Symmes Township, all the medical staff in the county and the world, the doctors, the nurses, everybody that's working on this COVID-19, and all the residents of Symmes Township. We have done a wonderful job containing the virus. So I want to thank them. I want to thank our front line. You guys, you are rock stars in my eyes. The staff is doing great at Symmes Township. You're keeping our parks great so people can get out, because it's mentally draining at this time right now. And I just want to say thank you, because you're all wonderful.
Second that.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen. And I also wanted to say, if anyone in the township or anywhere needs help getting groceries or needs, some comfort, please reach out to us. I am more than welcome to go grocery shopping for anybody or do anything that anybody needs in the township. Please reach out if you need help. We are more than willing to help anyone. Okay? Anything else?
No, well said.
Okay.
Thank you.
And everyone be safe, and we love you all. Okay, I move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Oh, and did I welcome Joe?
No.
Okay. One more thing. I got this whole list of stuff I want to talk about, and I want to welcome Joe Grassi, our new fiscal officer, and wish him congratulations.
Have you been sworn in? Yes.
Yes.
Have you been sworn in?
Yes.
When?
March 31st.
Okay. Okay.
March 31st.
Sorry, I missed that.
And then we'll do I just told him when we were back open
Oh, we're gonna party?
that we would do a official thing at one of the township meetings.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought
Sounds
that's what
great.
the Easter candy was for.
What's that?
I thought that was what all the candy was for.
I missed the cookies
Throw it
and
out.
We didn't, his nephew swore him in, so.
okay.
So hopefully maybe May or June. Maybe, we'll see. So congratulations.
Yes,
We're glad to have you, one of
congratulations.
us. So I'm giving you my air hug right now, so. Okay. So I move approval of the minutes. Regular meeting, March 3rd, 2020, and special meeting, March 18th, 2020.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Fiscal officers report. Joe?
There's a report in your packet from up to March 31st, I believe, from a previous fiscal officer. We don't have access to bank accounts at this point in time, so Ms. Pensley was able to get the balances in the checking account, money market, and credit card.
Kim.
And in the checking
Is that
account, we have $1,192,858.88. In our money market account, we have $3,807,992.06. And in our credit card account, we have $1,920.69.
And then there's the meter.
Oh,
You can report the balances on that. The very front. You see it?
the assets, you want total assets? Total assets in meter account, $8,050,624.72. The value on March 31st was $8,064,363.88. Their estimated annual income is $154,554. I'm amazed it went up from February to March with what's going on in the market.
That's great.
Is that all I have to give?
Yep.
I have a request, though. I wear hearing aids. I have hearing issues. This room is horrible for anybody with any type of hearing problem. The acoustics are bad and the sound system leaves a lot to be desired. I would request, because I know in previous meetings I've been to, I never could hear everything that was going on because of my hearing issue. But part of that is not me, it's the room. So I would request that you seriously allow our administrator or whoever does it, entertain exploring what's available for a sound system that works better than this one, and maybe some acoustic modifications that could improve this room. I notice in meetings the difference between here and the meeting room at the Safety Service building. And I know that's a newer building, but the acoustics over there are a lot better than they are here. But, you know, I'm not only asking that to facilitate myself, but I do think that's important. But I'm sure there are people who come to these meetings who probably suffer the same problems I do. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we could look into that, Kim, if you want to look into see.
Okay.
If it's an issue in the short term, we could reschedule our meetings to the other venue. Okay, if need be.
Yeah. All right.
Now, one
My
thing-
understanding that you wanted Kim near you, so if you have an
Yes.
issue, okay.
Yeah, I requested from all three of you that, because that'll help. That way I'm not across the room.
That's absolutely fine.
Because until I'm up to speed and know what I'm doing here, it would be helpful to have somebody near me who can prod me.
That's
One
fine.
under the table.
She has no trouble
Cattle,
prodding
I'm
people.
thinking cattle prod, yeah. Okay.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, and we'll look into getting better acoustics.
Okay.
Okay?
Appreciate it, thank you.
Anything else?
Mm,
No?
we do, I know we do have, there's a lot of catch-up that's going to have to occur in the coming year, you know, and I know a biggie is a record retention program and getting ourselves organized, which we are not at all. But that's being addressed already, and we'll continue to address that.
Okay,
That's all I have.
thank you. Presentations, I think we have a presentation from Axiom,
Yep, I'm gonna do a conference
and we're gonna do a
call.
conference call.
So we have the presentation up here, right?
Yep,
So
yeah.
she's just gonna walk us through it?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome to Vonage Meetings. Please enter your meeting PIN and press the pound key. Joining your meeting, press *7 to mute or unmute.
Amanda, you there?
Yes, hi Kim.
Hi, how you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good. And you've successfully put us on speakerphone and conferenced us in.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful.
Hi, Kim.
Would you like us-
Just here as well.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, and then you can go through your presentation, please.
Sure. Hi, this is Bennett Kaplan, and also on the line is Amanda Molesky-Kraus.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay,
Yes, go
thanks,
ahead.
thanks, Kim. Can you hear me okay?
Yep. Can you guys hear?
Okay, great. Well, again, we appreciate the opportunity to make this proposal to you, and of course, we appreciate the accommodation that you've made to allow us to present it over the phone due to the unprecedented health crisis, so we do appreciate that. We wanted to present to you a proposal for forensic accounting services to address the specific objectives that have been provided to us that have been communicated to us in our past conversations with Kim and Joe, and to a limited extent with Ken as well. We prepared a proposal document that I think Kim just referenced. I believe copies were circulated. We don't plan on reading through the whole proposal. There's a lot of information in there, and certainly we would encourage you to look at it after our presentation is done to learn more about us. However, I am going to refer to the pages in that document in order to provide some structure to our presentation this evening. I'm going to speak for a few minutes and give you an introduction to our firm, and then Amanda will speak in more detail about our proposal and the specific procedures that we are proposing. So if I could just ask you to turn to the second page, page 2. So Axiom provides a range of investigative and forensic accounting services. We are expert in investigations. That's what we do. We are based in Chicago, although some of our personnel office elsewhere. And Amanda, who would be conducting the substantive work for Symmes Township in this matter, is based in Dayton, Ohio. And since 2006, we have been assisting clients in understanding risks and providing them with accurate and thorough information to help them make informed decisions. And that's what we propose to do for Symmes Township as it transitions to its new fiscal officer. If I can just ask you to turn to page 3. So the core of our services is helping clients respond to internal challenges. In some cases, responding to allegations of misconduct, such as fraud, embezzlement, theft. And our investigations and forensic reviews are most often focused in that regard, but not always perceived as wrongdoing. In some projects, we assist clients in reviewing internal records to identify waste, mismanagement, non-compliance with procedures. And some of our clients, their objective is focused more on making sure that operations are conducted properly currently, or that in the past that they have been conducted properly. We provide accurate findings which provide our clients with the information to allow them to make the best decisions in the context of their objectives and to move forward. So turning to the next page, I just want to spend a few minutes to talk a little bit about the range, the types of projects that we conduct. So flipping to page 5, we have strong relationships with a broad range of companies and organizations, both big and small, across many industries. The common denominator among those relationships is that we have demonstrated to these clients the value of the focus and the integrity of our investigative services. And we just list there a list of some of the types of companies that we have done work for, some of the organizations, the types that we've done work for. And flipping to the next page, our projects surface, the objectives of our projects surface in many different origins. We get involved in many different contexts. We provide some of those examples on this slide. Most often, it's because somebody in the company or someone outside the company identifies something that they're concerned with, something that doesn't look right, or just concerns that they want to focus on to better understand the information, again, for moving forward. And the next slide provides a list of the types of concerns and challenges that we have responded to. Again, various types of alleged wrongdoing, from embezzlements and frauds and bribes, but also to allegations that do not involve misconduct, but we regularly conduct forensic accounting reviews to explore whether operations are being conducted properly, whether there's compliance with procedures and contractual provisions, in consideration of possible waste and mismanagement. At the end of this document, we provide a list of certain projects that we have been involved with. I'm not going to review them now, but they're certainly available to you to review if you're interested in learning more about some of our projects. And turning to the next slide, slide 8, our services are intended to meet your specific objectives. And on page 9, we give an overview of why we think our services are valued and why we have developed strong client relationships. Each project, each investigation, each matter that we're involved with is unique and different, and we tailor our services to provide you with the valued services to address your specific objectives. We provide you with the information to allow you to make informed decisions. And I just want to highlight a couple of the points that we note on this page. We will bring the multidisciplinary expertise that we have among our team to respond to the specific concerns and allegations of a project. And what that allows our clients to do is limit the internal resources that they need to redirect to address those concerns, and allows them to keep their personnel focused on their core responsibilities without distraction. We bring independence to the process, which often is very critical to maintaining the credibility of the review. And we provide effective and well-written reports and communicate clearly so that you can make the best use of the information that we develop. And last, we will provide expert advice in terms of improving processes and controls to avoid issues in the future. Turning to the next slide, slide 10, again, just highlights the broad range of our capabilities and expertise. And we will bring those capabilities and expertise to bear in specific instances. As it relates to the project that we're proposing for Symmes Township, really the services listed at the bottom left and the top right would be the ones that we would be most focused on. And turning to slide 11, our firm is comprised of a team of experts with varied backgrounds and expertise. And on slide 12, we highlight some of those backgrounds. In our proposal for Symmes Township, we will be providing expertise in forensic accounting, and specifically the service that would be provided by Amanda. And flipping to slide 13, Amanda would be the person primarily and directly responsible for conducting the forensic accounting services for Symmes Township. My role would be more in terms of oversight and directing strategy and direction of the forensic accounting services. In terms of our team and in terms of the work that Amanda would be doing, Amanda is an experienced forensic accountant with over 15 years of experience in leadership and investigation and providing forensic accounting reviews. She's been part of Axiom's team for more than 8 years and certainly has been a valuable resource to Axiom's clients. She is a recognized expert and currently serves as the president of the Southwest Ohio ACFE, the Association of Certified Fraud Examiner chapter. There's more information about Amanda and myself in the bios that are on the pages that follow, on page 14 and 15. In terms of the proposed services for Symmes Township, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to talk a little bit more about the objectives as we understand them and the procedures that we're proposing.
Okay, great. Thanks, Bennett. Yeah, so I'd like to spend the rest of our time walking you through the rest of this document and digging into what our proposed services are and also the objectives that we've been asked to meet in performing these services. So if you look at slide 17, first I'd like to walk you through these objectives and describe what exactly we've been asked to propose on. So these are the objectives that Symmes has told us that they're seeking to meet, again, as Bennett referenced in some discussions with Joe and Kim, and to a limited extent, Ken. And so the objectives that we're seeking to meet are on this slide. Before I dig into those, I'd also like to note that these objectives are structured in the context of the transition between fiscal officers. As Joe Grossi is coming newly into this role of fiscal officer, these are how these objectives have been defined to us. And I'll dig into the actual procedures on the following slides, but on slide 17, the three objectives, first off, are related to lighting districts. So the objective is to determine if 24 lighting districts were properly assessed for lighting bills in 2013 through 2016. The second objective surrounds cash receipts to determine if cash and checks received in 2017 through 2018 for various township services were properly recorded and deposited into bank accounts. And the third objective relates to bank statements. For the 4 bank accounts of Symmes Township, Based on reviewing the face of the bank statements for 2017 through 2019, the objective is to determine whether any transactions or series of transactions may warrant further review. And before I dig into the procedures on the next slide, I'd also like to just note that these objectives are defined as the information is now and what we've learned from the discussions. And as Symmes personnel, particularly Joe as he gets into his role, spend more time with the records, there of course may be information that changes the objectives or changes the documentation or what's available to allow us to perform our procedures. And of course we're going to want to be responsive to those changes. So everything we've defined here is as it stands now, and we'll continue to keep in contact with Joe and Kim in performing the work and getting that work started to make sure that we're on track with what the current information is. So if you turn to page 18, I'd like to explain the procedures and start with the lighting district objectives and area of focus. So there are 41 lighting districts in Symmes Township, and as you know from prior work, there were 17 lighting districts that were underassessed during the time frame of 2013 through 2016. We're proposing procedures related to the remaining 24 lighting districts to determine whether they were properly assessed during that same time frame, whether it be overassessed or underassessed or properly assessed. That's what our area of focus is related to. And just a little bit of context before I describe the actual procedures of how the lighting districts work or are supposed to work is that there are energy bills for each of the 41 districts, and those are billed monthly, and Symmes pays them on a monthly basis to the energy company, Duke Energy. The energy costs are then supposed to be passed on to the property owners via assessments, and those assessments are issued by the Hamilton County Auditor. And in the current process, the way this works is that Symmes Township provides the auditor with an amount in September that's supposed to be passed on to the property owners, split between the December and June tax bills. And then the received amounts from the property owners that have been assessed are paid to the auditor, and then the auditor passes that back to Symmes. And so the way those assessments are at least currently calculated, and to some extent we understand might have been calculated in the past, are that the amounts provided to the auditor are an estimation for the next year of what the energy costs would be, combined with a true-up for the current year because of the time differential and when the assessments are told to the auditor to be put on the bills. So if you look at slide 19, our actual proposed procedures to meet these objectives, again covering 24 lighting districts for the time frame of 2013 through 16. We would review the energy bills issued monthly for the 24 lighting districts to determine the amounts billed by Duke Energy. We then also review the assessment records from the auditor for each property owner within the 24 districts to determine the amounts that were actually assessed to the property owners in that time frame. And then we'd essentially compare the amounts and compare it to an estimate of what should have been assessed, again with that understanding that there would have been a little bit of estimation in there when the assessments were calculated for the next year combined with a current year true-up. Now if you move on to page 20, then I'll walk through the next area of focus, the cash receipts area. So our understanding is that cash and checks were received at Symmes Township for the payment of various township services, such as zoning permit fees, right-of-way permits, cemetery fees, and park permits. And cash and checks were received and logged onto a spreadsheet by the front desk, and then they were then sent to the fiscal officer for recording in the accounting system and depositing. And the procedures we've prepared have been focused on 2017 and 2018 because that's when cash and checks were taken. In 2019, it was changed to be more limited to credit cards. So the procedures that you see are defined here. First are to obtain and review that spreadsheet that is maintained by the front desk when the cash receipts and check receipts are collected. To look at that spreadsheet and break out and identify the dollar amounts, the types of receipts, such as the form it was received in and what it was for. And then we would trace those receipts to their recording in the accounting system, for example, to ensure they were accounted for at the correct amount, accounted for related to the appropriate fund, and so forth. And then we trace the receipts to their deposit on the bank statements, and to the extent that other cash or checks came in outside of these areas by Symmes, we would also incorporate those into the analysis to understand what the deposit consisted of. And then the third area of focus on page 21 is related to the bank statements. We understand that Symmes has 4 bank accounts: a checking account, a savings account, an investment account, and a health reimbursement arrangement, or an HRA account. So we're proposing procedures to determine if the bank statements related to those 4 accounts for the time frame of 2017 through 19 have transactions or series of transactions which on their face may warrant further review. So based on what we currently know about the bank accounts and the statements, our procedures would first be to obtain the original bank statements for all of these accounts for the time frame of 2017 through 2019 from the bank. This would include obtaining copies of deposits or withdrawals, endorsements, and so forth to the extent that information is available. We would also obtain bank reconciliations for all 4 accounts, again to the extent they were prepared and this documentation is available to us. And then if you turn to page 22, we would review the activity on the face of the bank statements to identify items which may warrant further review. It would essentially be us looking through the bank statements and just getting familiar with the transactions, but some things that might be things that we would make note of would be large or unusual amounts, repeated amounts, unusual check numbers or payment methods, unusual or unexpected payees, or unusual endorsements as some of those examples. And then we would take what we would see and provide a listing with a related context of transactions or series of transactions, or really anything that has presented itself to us as may requiring further investigation or examination or just consideration. And then on page 23, just as a note for our work, we expect that our main points of contact for our procedures would be Kim LaPensi and Joe Grossi. And we expect to work with them closely during the procedures to identify available documentation or to help answer questions regarding transactions or assist with pointing us to how to research transactions. And then when all of our work was completed, we would work with them to determine the appropriate format for reporting of our findings, whether that be a written report or whatever format is best for Symmes Township. And then if there are areas that present themselves that may require or warrant consideration of additional work, such as expansion of timeframes of review, transactions that need further research, or additional areas for review, we would make note of those findings at the time and present them to you for consideration. So then on page 24 and 25, I'll walk you through briefly the proposed budget for the procedures that we've outlined. So we bill on an hourly rate, and you can see our fee schedule for that hourly rate on page 25, which we have discounted. We understand that this is a municipality, and these are taxpayer funds, so of course we wanted to be respectful to that, and we discounted our rates. And as Bennett said earlier, I would be performing the substantive work on this project, with Bennett's time being more limited, and so it would be at that discounted rate at my time. And then on slide 26, you'll see our proposed budget for this work is $20,000, again trying to be respectful of the public funds, and again noting that this is our budget based on the information that we understand to be available or projected to be available, and the objectives and the timeframes for review, and the level of detail and documentation that we'd be looking through is how we calculated that budget. As Bennett noted, on pages 27 through 29, we have some representative projects and cases that we've worked on, and we can certainly elaborate on those should you desire, but we'll leave you to look through those at your convenience. And so now we'd just like to open it up to if you have any questions or any clarification you would like from us.
Sure, Amanda, this is Phil Beck. Can you hear me okay?
Amanda, can you hear Phil?
Maybe just a little bit louder. I can make him out barely.
Okay. How about now? Is that better?
It's a little better, yeah, thanks.
Must be those poor acoustics in this room. I'm not sure that this makes a big difference, but I'm just curious, have you all worked with public governments in the past?
As Bennett described, we have worked with a variety of companies and organizations. Typically, we are working for more public or private companies and not as much. On the governmental side, we have done a few cases that get into this area. It's not our main focus, but a lot of that is just because it doesn't necessarily present itself based on how sometimes governments may have their own departments or personnel that perform these sorts of procedures. Bennett, would you care to elaborate on that?
Phil, I'll just elaborate just very briefly. I think that, as Amanda pointed out, there's a number of reasons why our work for municipalities or public entities has been limited. But I will say, to the extent that we have done work, we've done work for a couple of school districts. We did work for a regional transportation authority, and we did some work for a suburban municipality. But I will say that in each of those instances, the work that we did, the projects that we performed, were fairly limited, and they were largely related to misconduct of personnel who worked for those offices, but it was conduct that happened outside of their official capacity, so things that they got involved in outside of their function of their job. And the investigations were more that these public entities were trying to understand better the concerns that they might have in relation to these to this outside conduct. But as Amanda pointed out, our work for municipalities has been fairly limited.
But I will add on to that as well that the objectives and the proposed services that we've outlined here, while they are proposed for you as a municipality, the actual characteristics of them and that they're forensic accounting focused and cash flows and how was it accounted for and reviewing of bank statements and so forth, that carries across all organizations and companies, public and private, and that sort of work and that skill set is very universal.
Okay, I sort of figured that to be the case, but I just wanted to check.
Yeah, it's a great question.
Two other quick questions. First of all, your presentation is very helpful. I had several questions, and you answered most of them by just going through the presentation. But based on the budget, the proposed budget of $20,000 and the hourly rate, so we're talking about 80 hours more or less of effort. So you think that is sufficient to be able to dive into these three subjects?
To the extent that we've outlined in the budget and the procedures as to exactly what we would be doing, yes. And again, with the understanding of the documentation available right now, yes.
Okay.
And we certainly would keep Kim and whomever we're directed to keep updated to the whatever level of detail that you would like updates on. We would do that so that we know you're cognizant of the budget, and we would be respectful of that and keep you updated if there's things that are based on the documentation that are coming in that are changing what we think that budget's going to need to be, or the procedures are shifting that would change the budget.
Okay, my last question, given our current situation and a lot of entities are either dealing with smaller staffs or alternating staffs, looks like we'll need to coordinate with the county auditor and some banks. Do you see any issues with that as far as just trying to get through to people?
talked about the documents and how to obtain it or what she already has. And we talked about already some of the things to request from the bank, and I assume the banks are normally going to be responsive to you, and normally they would provide that documentation to you, although there will always be some questions as to how far back the information would go or so forth, but I think they would be responsive. With the auditor's office, my understanding from Kim is that she does have a lot of the assessment documentation for those 24 districts already, and so that there isn't a responsiveness concern to that. Kim, please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. I have a lot of the records going back to 2013, so I already have them. And I did check with the bank today, and they have up to 7 years that they store that we would have access to.
You have all the spreadsheets for these years?
Yep, and I have all the Duke Energy bills for everything that she already needs. It's already in a spreadsheet and everything.
Okay.
Okay.
My concern.
Yeah, and that.
This is Ken Bryant.
To speak up.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Amanda. My concern really is a timeline here with the transition that we're going through in-house with Kim and Joe. They're up to their ears right now and trying to understand what's been done and how we're going forward. And I see a great amount of reliance on them to provide you with the details and so on. So as Phil mentioned before, 80 hours, that, you know, what time length are we talking here? Are we talking a month, 2 months to use this 80 hours, or just what?
Well, as far as the reliance on Kim and Joe, you're right. They are our main points of contact. But as Bennett said earlier in the presentation, part of the advantage to hiring us is the fact that work such as this and the details and spending all this time going through the lighting bills and so forth is not being put on the plates of Joe or Kim. Instead, you're using us to come in and do that so they can attend to their normal duties and all of the things that is involved in doing that. And on top of it, then we have the independence and the expertise and all of the other benefits to using us. But to your point, it mostly would allow them to continue doing their work while we're meeting these objectives that I think they'd want to meet regardless. So that's the main thing that I would say about using us. There are things, as we said, that we would have to go back to them for questions on or help us understand where this documentation is or how the accounting system works or something. But overall, to the extent that these objectives are something that is desired to be met, having us do it is very helpful. And as Kim said, in what the discussions that we've had, a lot of the documents, at least pertaining to the lighting districts, have been gathered already, and she's working with the bank to get some of the other documents, and those are things that she's a point of contact for, but would hopefully just be able to pass on to us. So they would need to be involved, but our goal is that we would take on the bulk of the work and get this done so they don't have to do the work.
Okay, going back to my question, what kind of timeline are we talking? If they can get all this information to you in the form of spreadsheets for the lighting districts and the bank statements gathered and so on and turned over to you, what kind of turn time are we looking at?
Well, I don't think if everything was turned over to us and there weren't gaps or holes or things that we find that bills that are missing or whatnot, once this work is approved, we could move on it pretty quickly and probably work on it over the course of a few weeks and get it done.
Well, I assume that you're working on other projects at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly right. Yes. So that would be, as Phil said, the number of hours we're putting into it based on our budget represents probably 80 to 100 hours, and we'd spread that out and have other projects that we're working on. But we could dedicate some time to this, and if everything really is in place, we could move on it and get through it. Although I will note, of course, to the extent that we need to be in person to look at things, or we'd have to assess that with the virus situation and how that's going to affect our ability to come down or do things in person with you. So I guess I would say a few weeks or a month to work through these things, generally speaking.
Okay. That's kind of what I was hinting at. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, anybody else?
We recognize that this is, in my vernacular, phase one. And if we hit on anything and so on, then you come back with a secondary follow-on budget or something to see where we go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So after we do these procedures, we would present to you the findings and point out areas that could result in additional procedures, whether that be expansions of timeframes on the areas we've looked at, something else that came to our attention, specific transactions, or perhaps related to the bank statements, there are some transactions that need further review or digging into. We would absolutely provide you with that information, make a proposal on that, and get your approval before doing any work into those expanded areas, should they arise.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So Kim, we'll hang up then, and if you guys have questions, I assume you'll contact us and let us know?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you both.
All right, thanks a lot, Amanda. Thanks, Bennett. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
And Joe, you're happy with this company and you recommend this?
They were recommended to me by a former police chief and FBI forensics investigator.
Okay,
So that's why I contacted them.
okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Do we have something later on the agenda to discuss this, or is this the opportunity now? If we're gonna,
You can discuss it
Proceed.
now. Haven't done a resolution yet. I figured you guys would need time to mull it over, think about it, figure it out, and then I could bring it back at the next meeting.
okay.
I know when we were going through this lighting district stuff, we had spreadsheets that were specific to the 17 or under assessed. But you also have the other 24 on the same spreadsheet, so we know on an annual basis how much we paid. I don't see that as being a major piece of this action, really. If we already have, go ahead.
Unless the lighting districts that were assessed were improperly assessed.
But you should know that pretty quickly. That's what I'm thinking.
I wouldn't know it necessarily.
Well, with their spreadsheets and so on, we know what the assessments were from the one side.
Would we know it?
What,
You'd have to
we would
review
know
it.
what we
You'd have to
paid.
go through it. I mean, it just would take time. That's why we were hoping that she could do it for us, because neither of us have time to do it.
Right.
Okay. But I think you're a big step forward in having those spreadsheets to be able to turn them over for somebody else to look at.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And if you get from the county auditor, the assessments that were put on the tax bills and so on, it's just two pieces of things to reconcile.
Right, you just match them up. The
Right.
the work in it becomes, it's 24 different lighting districts, so you have to flip through all the pages, and I mean, there's a file this big that you'd have to go through to pull all those out.
We have all those
Mhm.
from the county.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then the banks all have 7 years of history to draw upon, and right now they're receptive to providing the information. Have we requested it yet?
Yeah, we can actually access it online. I just have to get online access.
Okay.
I waited for an hour and a half today to try to get on, and I couldn't get on, so I ended up hanging up before the meeting.
All right. Okay.
All right. Are we moving on?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Public hearings, we have none. I move approval of disbursements warrant number 77241-77459 in the amount of $581,271.12.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I have a question. All these checks that I haven't signed yet, does that coincide with these numbers or
They're
some of
included
them, some of them carried over from before?
What I did is if you look on your agenda attached to it, what I did is I printed a whole report for March that lists every warrant number. So you'll see the 77241 starts at the beginning of March. And then
Okay.
this 77459 is what we just ended with the stack that's in front of you.
You just answered my question because I didn't find a 241 here. So you're saying that these are for March plus the ones that we're issuing today?
Yes, sir.
Got it, okay.
Okay. All right, reports, Law Director?
No report tonight, thank you.
Police, I don't think we have Tori with us tonight. Stay safe. Fire?
Thank you, trustees. I want to commend our residents for doing a wonderful job sheltering in place and social distancing. You know, we've had very few cases reported to us in Symmes Township, and that's wonderful. And that all has to do with our residents doing what our governor has asked them to do. So we appreciate that. The township is prepared as we can be for something like this. The trustees have everything in place that we need to have in place. Our firefighters, our deputy sheriffs are all safe. They're all healthy. So we appreciate that as well. We received the national stockpile equipment that had been promised to us from the state and from the federal government. So we received that. We continue to receive that. So our fire stations are prepared and ready to assist our residents should that need be. But it looks like that we're on the right projection, and I think things are going to be good. I keep the trustees informed via the internet with that. So as that comes available, I'll get that information to you. We're on several conference calls a day with the county and with the state, with the EMA. Deputy Chief Books is heading that project up for us. We were on a call today with the National Council of Mayors in DC, basically to get information on reimbursement and stay on top of that. So we had 2 people on that conference call as well. We stay engaged with the Ohio Township Association and what they've got going on with the reimbursements, and we've been in contact with the Congressman's office to ensure that we have the most up-to-date information available to get any reimbursement that is coming and due to the township. We've also been sending information out to our small businesses on how they can get online and request the immediate $10,000 so to help their businesses stay open, or to recoup, I should say, the ones that have been closed to recoup, and in the long term. So we continue to send that information out to our residents and to our business community, and so we're just chugging along, hoping to get this over with here in a couple of weeks.
Yes, thank you.
Chief,
Thank you.
how are supplies holding out, and how's morale?
Well, morale is, you know, they want to be out doing what they do, and our run volume is down drastically, obviously, because people want to stay safe in their homes and they're afraid to go to the hospital. So there's more inline telemedicine going on right now. But we have the fire stations in the lockdown right now. We're actually feeding them 3 meals a day from the local businesses here in Symmes Township and our restaurants in Loveland, trying to keep as much going with that as we can. So we're working. So we believe that they're doing a great job with that, and we appreciate what they're doing and moving that forward. And they're healthy, and so we're really concerned. We talk to them every day on a conference call about how they're doing, how their families are doing, making sure that everybody's safe and that everybody's well.
Good.
So, and as far as the supplies, the answer on the supplies, sir, we're doing good on the supplies. The N95 masks can now be cleaned by Patel in Columbus. So we have a contract for them through the County Fire Chiefs Association, where we will be taking those and having them cleaned and then returned to us, sanitized and returned to us. So once we do that, it's a very, very low cost to have that done. And that's some of the stuff that is covered under the emergency clause. So we'll be able to get reimbursed for that and have those expenses taken care of. We've ordered some, along with some other fire departments in the area. We've ordered some supplies that came available, so that we didn't know how long this would last. So, but all of it was certainly within our budget and able to handle that. So,
Very good. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Director of Public Works, committees, none. Other, anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to issue a plea to all the Symmes Township residents to please vote. We have some very important levy issues on the ballot. The SORTA transportation issue is on the ballot. It's actually a presidential election, so depending on which party ballot you get an opportunity to vote in the primary. I think it's all important for everyone, as soon as they can, to request their absentee ballot by mail. There's information on our signs, and you can go to votehamiltoncounty.org, I believe, and request an application for an absentee ballot. I'm wearing my I voted by mail button today that came in mine. It took almost a week for me to get that absentee ballot. So don't wait till the last minute, because the deadline for postmark is like the 27th for it to count on April 28th election. Thank you.
And I just want to add to that, in times like this, we realize how important our fire department and our sheriff is. So remember, we have something also on the ballot, and please support our fire department and our sheriff's department. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, correspondence, see attached. Events and meetings, Earth Day Challenge, April 22nd, 2020. Since we're all, I want to say, cooped up, I think this is a great time to show our support for the earth by not using plastics on April 22nd, 2020. What a better time, or inside, show support, and let's do that. Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, May 4th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Administration Building. We might have to talk about rescheduling that. Trustees regular meeting would be Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 at 7 p.m. in the Administration Building. Finance Committee meeting Tuesday, Wednesday, May 12th or 13th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Administration Building. Cleanup Day, Saturday, May 16th at 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Hopewell Meadows Park. Zoning Commission meeting Wednesday, May 20th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Administration Building. And Symmes Honors Veterans, Friday, May 22nd, 2020 at 6:30 at Home of the Brave. Old business. I move approval of Resolution G 2020-13, resolution approving the employment agreement with Kim Lipinski at the Township Administrator pursuant to ORC Section 505.031 and dispensing with the second reading.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. New business, I move to remove Joseph Grossi from the Finance Committee effective April 1st, 2020, and appoint Jennifer Ryan to fill the unexpired term from April 1st, 2020 to 12/31/24.
Second.
Jennifer did a great job for us in the past, and I'm excited to have her. Roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Discussions concerning activities, meetings, and events for the month of May. I think we're probably gonna have to move as many as we can, or cancel them, because I don't think we're gonna be at that point that we're gonna want people to congregate together.
How do we want to notify our residents? Right now, you just read off a whole bunch of things that are happening, meetings and whatever in May and so on. That's still on the books until we have to defer it. We have Facebook, we have website, we have
Email.
reaching
We
out
have our
to,
monthly newsletters.
Right.
we have reaching out to our HOAs and so on to distribute things. So we're going to try and use all these devices. As soon as we have to make a decision, we'll try and let you know.
So are we, let's talk. Symmes honor that.
I think we should cancel.
I agree. Because the majority of our
Yes.
clients are older.
Right.
Yeah,
Susceptible.
okay.
Can we do the finance committee virtually? If we
Sure,
distribute
we
the
could do a
materials?
Zoom meeting.
Zoom,
meeting.
yeah.
Yeah, we can do Zoom.
Right.
Okay. We'll figure out how to do it.
Can we see if we can move cleanup day to July or, far out in June?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that.
Okay, let's see if we can move that one.
Okay.
Zoning appeals and zoning commission how many,
You tell me, Kevin, how, BZA, how do we tackle that? Because we still have a leftover
Yes.
from March, and then we had one scheduled for April, so if we push it again, because with BZA, you're supposed to be allowed to cross-examine.
We have to have
and
the
you have-
ability for people
Right.
to be able to ask questions and provide input. That
Right.
is correct.
So, do you think maybe we should just reschedule it?
Unless we can provide a mechanism to allow them to provide the input.
I just don't know how to do that.
Right.
So if we reached out to other communities to see if they're doing anything, how they're doing it, do we know?
What-
Everybody's pretty much just
On
canceled their
hold.
BZA and planning commission meetings, as
As-
far as I know.
Kevin, as a judge, what are you guys doing to
Well,
hear cases?
we
We're still
remain
here.
open.
Yes,
We have reduced the types of cases that we hear.
okay.
The critical cases, the people that are incarcerated, things like that, domestic violence, those types of cases. Regarding the BZA, another municipality last night conducted a BZA hearing via Zoom, provided the Zoom link to the interested people who did want to provide input. In other words, for BZA, you do provide certain notice to
Yeah.
interested people
And they-
automatically, right?
Right, and then they sign up?
And then they can come in via Zoom. The applicant, and this is for a variance for a shed, the applicant was able to come in via Zoom and present their case and could make a comment and be asked questions about that particular matter. With that said, I think this is still developing regarding Zoom, the technology as far as the security of it. So I think a lot of places are looking into that also.
Okay.
I do know that for example, this particular municipality has a council meeting coming up next month, and they're going to conduct that meeting via Zoom. So the council will not be present in the building. They'll be at their various locations. They're providing a mechanism for people to, if they want to, for public comments, portion of the meeting, to call in, and they can make their presentation via telephone.
Okay.
So they're allowing that. So if we can look into the technology, we may still be able to handle the BZA for May, but obviously time is running short already on that.
Right.
Is it just that one matter that you and I have been discussing, or is there another case?
There's one more case after that. It's Donato's has applied for a second sign on their building, plus the Indian Hill case.
Okay.
Tim?
It may be worth reaching out to them to see whether they mind kicking it to June, because you would hope, knock on wood, that by June, things will be settling down. That's an option too.
Okay.
Tim Newman of ICRC is here with us tonight, broadcasting this performance, if you will.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
Absolutely. We have been doing several of our meetings, government meetings, local meetings, via Zoom. And we're now starting to work out being able to do what you talked about, having audience participation. So we're still working those things out, but we're definitely here to assist you do those things. We've done the City of Mason, we've done Milford School Board. Tonight we're doing the City of Reading, we've done the Village of Glendale. So I've reached out to all of our communities. I sent out letters. I know I sent them out to you and Kim about teleconferencing, video teleconferencing. So we've got a pretty good handle on that, especially with all the security stuff coming out about. So I'm pretty confident that we can assist you guys with this. Not me, but I've got staff that have really taken this on and really learned how to use it. So if you want to get involved with that, I'm happy to help out.
Okay,
Pursue you in the right direction.
thank you.
Okay, all right.
For
That'd be
sure.
great.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Your neighbors are doing Zoom testing tonight for a Zoom council meeting next Tuesday.
I'm doing testing tonight?
Yeah, they're testing, all the council people are getting online, testing, making sure they know how to do it, it works, and that's what they intend to use next Tuesday.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we do. We'll get everybody together, we do a test run, we make sure everybody's comfortable with how to use it, so.
Okay.
Are they doing that on their own? They're not with ICRC anymore?
I don't believe they are.
Is it Loveland?
Yes,
Yeah.
they're on their own.
Do you know who they're using or how they're doing that?
I don't
All
know.
internal?
You could reach out to Mr. Kennedy or Mr. Smith, the assistant city manager.
Okay.
He's managing the project, but I know they're doing the test tonight. I wasn't able to be on because of here.
Okay,
They are testing.
I just know one person has to have the subscription. So what you do is you pay like a $15 subscription, and then one person has to start it all up. And then what you did, like, we did this for my mother-in-law's 70th birthday.
okay.
So we all logged in at the same time, hit the link, logged in, and then we did it on our iPad. And then in our house, we have a lot of Apple products, so we just mirrored it to our TV. And then we were able to see our whole family on the TV screen.
Okay.
So on your iPad, you can do up to 9, and then if you do it on the computer, I think you can go up to, what, 64?
I'm not sure, but
I think it's
I know to
64.
accommodate what you would need.
Right.
Okay.
I've been doing yoga classes that way. It's actually
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it was pretty nice. I mean, there is a delay, but it's pretty cool how it all works.
Yeah, my granddaughter is doing happy hour,
Yeah.
virtually.
So you want to see if we can try it?
Yes.
Yes.
Or, well, what we could do is ask the applicants first what they want us, prefer us to do, if they want us to kick it, or if they want to keep it. And if they're adamant about keeping it, then we'll just see if we can work it out. with
Just
the
give
Zoom.
them the
I
option.
Okay.
I think
We can
that's
do
a good
that.
approach.
Okay,
Yeah.
All right.
all right, and then we'll try to reschedule the other things. Are you guys available on May 12th? And maybe we can just do the finance committee on one night instead of 2.
I would have to look at our schedule, but
Okay.
I'm sure we could work it
Work
out.
something out.
I'll be in touch tomorrow, and I'll kind of get you hooked up with Jason
Okay,
and start the ball rolling, but yeah, we can help
okay,
out.
all right.
Okay. Is that out?
Yes.
All right. Discussion concerning stormwater fee assessment 2021. Okay.
This we get every year, so this is that assessment through the stormwater district where part of the money goes to the stormwater district and part of the money goes to the Regional Planning Commission for their mapping or whatever it is that they do. This is that $15 fee that gets assessed to every resident in Symmes Township, regardless of whether we sign the letter or we don't sign the letter. So typically we always sign it, but there are other townships that don't sign the letter, but they get assessed anyway. I think they look at it as they don't want to contribute to
What-
the signing of it.
What are you signing for when you sign it? What do you do?
You're
with it?
basically just acknowledging that it's an assessment and that you're passing it on to your residents.
Okay.
That's why the other townships won't
That's
sign it.
taxation without representation, as far
Right.
as I'm concerned. It's a boondoggle.
Have we signed it in the past?
Yeah, we've always signed it.
We've always passed it on to our residents because we feel like there's more flack can be raised by the residents than one governmental entity arguing with the county over the fee.
Right.
It doesn't sound like we have an option.
What's gonna be paid?
It's happening.
It's whether the township pays it for the residents or the residents pay it. And we pass it on to them. That's what we've done since it was first instituted.
Right, but just keep in mind, I mean, they have talked about taking this fee up more than $15. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't this year, but there's been
Well,
talk of raising
it-
it to like $40 or $50.
It was not always $15. First off, there's a water, what was it, stormwater fee was like half of that, 7, and then they added a public works fee in there,
Right.
something else.
So is there anything we can do to not be assessed?
I mean, we could drop out of the stormwater district, but I don't think legally we can.
Well,
So there's nothing we can do, we're stuck.
I'd like
pretty
to
much
see
stuck.
Hamilton County do something like what Warren County does and use the money to solve stormwater problems instead of just putting signs on grates and so on and say, do not pollute.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I know that the other townships, we've all kind of been on this conference call with the county about stormwater issues. And we did raise that at one of their meetings that we had with them, that, you know, we would like to see them take on stormwater drainage projects like the Fox Center would be, or was it Fox Center?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a perfect one where you could apply for grant funds and get maybe a match. Like if you put up a match, you'd get a match, and that way people could do private stormwater projects. But the Hamilton County, the way it was set up, it's only for monitoring and monitoring only.
It seems to me, though, that there's no advantage to signing.
Well, if it's a signing to acknowledge that we're passing it on to our residents,
Well, but then
as
the
long as that's
residents-
what it says.
The residents see you as tapping that on them, not the county.
I don't like it. I don't wanna pay it at all.
So why would we bother signing it?
Well, because, you know, I'm not saying we should, but we're being assessed anyway, so are we looking like just stormwater, we're being difficult? Do you know what I mean?
What's the downside of not signing it?
It says action requested, signature and form submittal by May 4th, 2020. Please acknowledge receipt of this notification and its contents by obtaining the signature of an authorized representative of your community. So
Okay.
basically, you're just acknowledging the receipt.
Okay, so what if you don't sign it? You're not acknowledging the receipt.
Right. I mean, there's
What's the
still an assessment.
consequences of that?
There's none, because I know of 2 townships that didn't do it, so.
Okay,
I'm willing to sign that we acknowledge receipt of it, but I'm not,
I can either sign it or not. You tell me what you want me to do.
Can we rewrite it?
No.
no. We've signed it historically, correct?
Yes.
I say sign it.
Okay. Are you guys okay with that?
Sure.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Boy, moving right on.
Okay, I move approval of, Resolution G 2020-26, resolution authorizing the acceptance of street paving, approval of resolution, of street paving, bids and awards and contract to Barrett Paving in the amount of $570,203.
Second.
I gotta get my folder out.
Phil got
Okay,
that one.
Discussion. This paper.
I saw in the resolution that they were low bidder, so there's
Yes.
no questions there.
Yes.
Do you know what the timing is?
They would like to start as soon as possible. So as soon as we get our catch basin work done that we've been doing, then they'll be able to start.
Okay.
They would like to try to get it out there and started while there's low traffic volumes.
Okay. And since this is the last of the 7-year levy, How did we do with respect to those 7 years? Did we cover all the streets, or we were a little ahead, or?
We were a little ahead.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
So it's good and prudent use of our tax levy dollars, and would like to see that renewed with no increase.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Frye.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-27, resolution approving expenditures in the amount of $21,200 for special events that will be held in the park and dispensing with the second reading.
I got the last one.
Second.
Discussion.
So we're under budget.
Well, we will be for
We
sure.
will be, now that we won't.
And this is not to exceed.
Right, it's not to exceed, so obviously we wouldn't spend the $1,250 on the Symmes Orange
Yeah.
veteran.
I have a question. When we get donations from outside and we accept those and they go towards our special events, does that go into a special events fund and then we spend out of that to pay for these things?
No, it just goes into the general fund.
Okay,
It's deposited in the general fund, and we still have to appropriate
okay.
for that amount of money.
Okay, of this $21,200 for special events, how much of that has been donated?
$3,000 that we got from Energy Alliances to support the yoga program.
Okay, thank you.
And hopefully yoga program is still going through. Hopefully by June.
Okay.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-28, resolution authorizing the purchase of turnout gear and various other equipment from Honeywell in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
Discussion? It's necessary stuff for the fire
This is our
department.
annual purchase of turnout gear.
Okay.
All right.
This is through the collaborative?
Yes.
Okay, so it saves us money? Okay.
Roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-29, resolution providing the declaration of nuisance for the property located at 12044 Cinnamon and authorizing all necessary steps for the abatement of the nuisance.
Second.
Discussion? Not the first time, correct?
No, we've actually sent multiple letters to this house. If you remember back in June of 2019, that's when the tree fell on the house. And originally it had been condemned by the health department, and the property owner moved out and pretty much left the property and didn't do anything with it. So I know that I've talked to her a couple times back in December, and she told me that she was working with her insurance company to get a settlement to fix the house or tear it down. So, she still hasn't done anything. We've been getting multiple complaints about the property. From what I understand, she has a contract with a local contractor to tear the house down, I believe at the end of April, it's April 28th. We have also told her that she has to remove all the cars from her lot because there's some stacking of cars that's going on there. So she has until the middle of April to move those. I would still recommend that you guys go ahead and pass the resolution to declare it a nuisance, and then we will give her the time allotted until the end of April to take care of it. If it hasn't been taken care of by April 29th, then I'm gonna get with Kevin and we're gonna start the proceedings to tear it down.
How long does that take, Kevin? Once that's kicked off at the end of the month?
Well, we would have to get an order from the court to allow us to do that, so.
Okay. So we're talking.
Courts aren't exactly
talking
moving
time.
at lightning speed right now, but it may be difficult to do that. But I think by the time that this will come around, if it does, we'll be able to get it done pretty
Okay.
quickly.
All right.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-30, resolution authorizing the adoption of an alternative method of appointing the local government fund.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, what's staff recommend here?
I
I
would
thought
like
I
to-
said no.
Vote no.
Okay. Do you have a reasoning?
The county, I I mean, I think we do this every 7 years. Basically, the way they apportion is Hamilton County gets the largest portion, and City of Cincinnati gets I think it's City of Cincinnati, then it's Hamilton County, and then the general park district's in there, and then there's another one in there too, and then the townships and villages and cities get all the rest.
Okay, now that's current.
Right.
Now, what's this new, the alternate method gonna change?
The alternate method is what I just explained.
Oh, okay.
So basically what it is, let me read it. It says, the Hamilton County Park District shall receive a total of $300,000 or 1% of the entire amount of the fund to be allocated. Of that remaining amount, Hamilton County will receive 40.75% of the remaining amount. Of the remaining amount after that, the City of Cincinnati will receive 40.75% of that remaining amount. So then, after all that is said and done, there's an emergency set aside of $100,000. And then after that emergency set aside, then it goes based on all the villages and cities, and it's based on your census. A third of it's based on the percentage of each population. A third is based on your road mileage, and then a third is your tax valuation.
Like a third of nothing.
Right. So basically, but the biggest thing is it doesn't really matter, because if the City of Cincinnati doesn't agree, they have veto power over the whole thing. So the problem is in recent years, there have been people moving further and further out of the city, and they're moving out into the township. So the township has a bigger share of people in Hamilton County than the City of Cincinnati does. But yet the City of Cincinnati still continues to receive the lion's share of the money.
We don't have a side-by-side comparison of old versus new method of what Symmes Township.
No, well, there's the statutory method versus this new apportioning.
Okay.
So, and I think what the other townships told me in the past is that they've all voted no to reject it. But it doesn't matter anyway, because Cincinnati has a veto. So-
Okay, so
Well,
let's
we can
vote
make
no.
we can take a stand.
Yeah, we can either vote yes or we can vote no.
We'll vote no.
Roll call.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Are you voting no or voting yes?
I'm voting no.
Okay, then you say nay.
Oh, I'm saying, I thought I was saying aye, but I was voting no. No.
Mr. Beck,
Nay.
Mr. Bryan,
No. Nay.
Okay. I move approval of Resolution G 2020-31, resolution authorizing the township to purchase and use employee dishonesty and faithful performance of duty policy through the Ohio plan.
Second.
Discussion?
That's already included in the cost for the Ohio plan.
Yes,
So why do we have to bring this back up for a separate resolution?
because the law requires us to pass a policy.
Okay.
So because we already did one, but we named it through OTARMA, and now we have to pass another one and name it through the Ohio plan.
Good answer.
Okay, roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-32, resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to hire an assistant fiscal officer pursuant to Section 507-021 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, welcome Al.
Welcome out.
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
We're excited to be working with them. Okay, I move approval of Resolution G 2020-33, resolution approving the severance agreement with LaWanda Willis and dispensing with the second reading.
Second.
Discussion? I wish her the best. Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck,
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-34, resolution declaring the state of emergency due to the COVID-19 and declaring an emergency.
Second.
Discussion? Will this free us up from money? Is that why we're doing
Yes.
this? Okay.
We
Well-
cannot ask for federal reimbursement unless we have declared an emergency.
Okay. And are we tracking how much like for the county, when I'm working, I put how many hours I've worked for the day, and then if like, you know, if I work 4 hours, and I usually work a 7-hour day, then I note that I worked 4 and didn't
Yeah.
work, okay.
We are tracking
Okay.
all of that.
Okay. All right,
And the costs are, like, costs prior to today are eligible, even though we're just voting on this today.
Right.
Okay.
We just can't get it unless we've done the same as everybody else.
Got it.
okay, and I could just have one more quick question, it really is kind of related. I'm worried about our businesses, so, I know Ott's been taking up a role, how about CC, have we been?
She's been sending out stuff on Facebook. I've seen it.
Okay.
And then we're gonna include a section in our e-newsletter that we're gonna send out. We're gonna cover it too.
Is there any way that we can contact our businesses direct and help them? Like, I know we don't have email addresses, but is this something that we learned from this, that maybe we should start working a business email or a business group so we can, get with our businesses, and like we do,
can
like
certainly try.
homeowners association, so we can, you know, make
It's
it
really
easier.
Maybe we can create a business,
Directory.
a business association or something in Symmes Township that
Yeah, that we can work maybe
where all the
through
businesses get
CC.
registered in,
Okay.
and we have a way to communicate with them, pass on information that would help them deal with the local and federal issues.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a good point too. If you get out, if you wanna take carry out, use our local businesses. I mean, make sure that you're helping out our smaller restaurants, things like that. Just tonight, we went to a Mexican restaurant, we carried out from a Mexican restaurant. So, you know, use our smaller businesses, try to help them out during this time, okay? Anything else?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-35, resolution requesting that the county commissioners change the name of Hunter's Run Court to Hunter's Run Lane and dispensing with the second reading.
Second.
This is just
It's paperwork.
cleanup work, yeah.
Paperwork.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr.
I know you're
Brown?
coming to me
Aye.
first.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-36, resolution authorizing a change order in the Hopewell and Inyart Road Sidewalk Project contract for Fillmore Construction in the amount of $21,290.
Second.
I have to say, I drove by it the other day. It looks really nice. I'm all excited for everyone that lives up there. Any other thing any comment? Kim, you want to explain why we had a change order, you know?
We had additional work that we had to do, so we had an area that was a little too steep for anybody to mow. So the property owner asked that we take another look at it, and we did. And so the only way to fix it really is to add some more pipe in that area. And it's kind of as you come down the hill. So it's a little bit more pipe, it's another catch basin, and we have to do a little bit of excavation work, some embankment work, and some filling. So more grassy.
Okay. I hate to be a nitpicker, but the way this is written, it says change order in the Hopewell and Inyart Road
Right, because
project.
we put the contracts together.
Okay, that's the only reason. All
Yeah.
the work is at Hopewell,
Right.
which is what I understood.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they've excavated most of Enyart, and I believe, I don't know if they've poured yet. They might be pouring this week, but it's almost complete.
Okay.
Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of the following expenditures and authorizing for the township administrator to sign any necessary equipment or contracts, agreements, or paperworks. A, expenditure for $22,458.84 for Intercommunication Cable Regulation Commission. B, expenditure $4,787.78 for office furniture source for new filing cabinets administration.
Second.
Discussion? I guess we're getting organized. Joe's
Yes.
getting organized. That's awesome. All right, roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
I move to an executive session. We have none, so I move to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mr. Ryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.